Now that we've created our document class, let's go ahead and start creating classes for some of the other objects inside of our project. So I have a new project here, but I've already imported some assets and I've converted them into movie clips. Let's take a look and I'll show you exactly what we have. So I originally created some assets inside of Illustrator. So when I imported those in, they came in as these various path objects. I've grouped all these into a folder called Assets. I then have created two movie clips. One is a movie clip of a die. So if I double click this, you'll notice if I open up the timeline panel that I've got 6 sides of a die here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Our project is going to be a dice roller, where when I click a button, I'll then be able to simulate the rolling of a die. And we'll be able to know what the value of the die is, and we'll see the face of the die change when we modify the number of the die. The last one we have here is called Game Button. And this is going to be the button that's going to drive everything that we're doing inside of our project. So I can put this on the stage, I can then change its label, and I can then put add event listeners and listen for events that are fired from the button. So the first thing we're going to do is create a class that will be associated with Game Button. Now with a button, there are a few things we're going to want it to do. Every single instance of this button we want to roll over when we want the color of it to change when we roll over the button. And we have a label that we want to change for every instance of the button. Creating this as a class will allow us to do this. And we can build all that internal behavior inside of the button and then access that from outside. So with the object inside of our Flash Professional project here, we can create a new class. We can right-click the Game Button object here and select Properties. When you do this, the familiar Symbol Properties dialog will come up, and we can say Export for ActionScript. Now, when we've done this before, we've just clicked OK. We haven't edited anything else from this. Now that we're working with classes, we're going to create our own custom class that we're going to associate with this particular object in our library. So with class selected here, I can then click Edit. Again, it will prompt me if I want to use Flash Pro or Flash Builder. I'm going to use Flash Pro. And you'll see that a new ActionScript file has been created, and we're placed into the ActionScript coding engine. This is very similar to what we had with the document class in the previous video, where we have our entire class wrapped in a package. We have an import statement here that's allowing us to take all the capabilities of movie clip and associate it with this with our class here. We then have the name of our class, which is the same name as the object in our library, Game Button. And we're saying that this is going to include or extend the capabilities of a movie clip. So all the things that are part of a movie clip will be part of this particular class. Then we have something called Game Button. And again, this is called the constructor. Every single time we create a button, this will execute the constructor. So whenever you create any of these objects, you can always place things that are going to happen every single time you run it inside of the constructor. So let's go ahead and save this. We're going to save this as Game Button. And let's go ahead and test out how this constructor works. I'm going to go ahead and in this code, I'm going to just put in a simple trace statement. So I put in a trace statement that says Game Button has been created. So I'm going to save this, and let's go back to our flaw, and I'm going to drag out an instance of Game Button. Now this is that movie clip that was inside of the library, so I just dragged it out here to the stage. And I have a single instance of that on our stage here. Let's go ahead and save this and run it and see what happens. You'll notice that the Game Button itself doesn't have any internal stop functionality. That's why it's oscillating like it is right now. But if you notice at the bottom, it says that Game Button has been created. This is that constructor that we created inside of in the initial class, where the constructor, since it's always executed every single time it is created inside of our project, will execute that statement. So based on that, we can rightly assume that if I create 2 or 3, that we'll have 2 or 3 statements of that same type in our output panel. So let's go ahead and test that out. Let's put in 2 more. And if I save and run, you see that we now get 3 game button has been created, because each instance of our classes have now executed the constructor. What we're going to do next is take that class and start putting in some internal behavior. So one of the things that we'll do is start adding in the ability to stop playback of it so it stops oscillating, and then allow us to change the different labels that are in each one of these particular buttons.